Cheers. So today we're going to get a little bit feisty.
Yeah.
I think because you and I have different opinions on
Very
this topic.
different.
Austin, what's our topic today?
So we're going to talk about assimilation.
Dude, what? No, not you. That sounds like you're saying simulation.
No, assimilate. Dude,
I know.
Do you not know Doctor Who?
I don't watch Doctor Who. I only watch good TV.
I mean, okay. Fair enough.
You don't deny it.
But
yeah.
but I don't know. It's like also Star Trek, like the Borg.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You must assimilate.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, so we're talking about
you're a Borg.
We're talking about assimilating in Japanese culture because, you know, there's been a few times on this episode where I've been kind of shocked by what you said.
I am vehemently American.
Yes.
And that will never change.
And I understand you're American, and I'm like,
yeah.
So we've talked to some people who are really trying to like assimilate big time into Japanese culture, like become Japanese. And I don't think you have to go that far, but I think you should assimilate as much as you can in the country that you live in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, I often claim to be like really American, but I still do a lot of things that are very Japanese.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like, you know, I try to follow the mannerisms here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of pride American pride when it comes to that. Like I don't want to create issues for people here. So, you know, just small stuff like, you know, if I'm going out in a restaurant, I will try to usually use hashi.
Yeah.
Unless it just doesn't make sense to me to do so. You know, small little things like that. Like I take my shoes off, obviously, because I'm not an animal.
Yeah. I guess what we should do is we should kind of break down what does assimilation look like to us. So saying, should we assimilate? What does that look like to you?
What it looks like to me, is somebody who abandons their culture to embrace Japanese culture. That's what assimilation means to me. It
abandons their culture. So even like their heart identity is gone.
So I'll tell you who I think or who comes off as somebody who assimilates is a person who maybe they moved here from of course they moved here from another country, and they don't use their native language. They don't dress like a person from their country. Their mannerisms are very Japanese, and all of it. This is the big one. Their social group is Japanese.
Okay.
Because I think that's a really big indicator of a person who's assimilated in a Japanese culture and a person who hasn't is based off of their social group.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. So I guess our definition is a little bit different. So the way that I see assimilation is someone who tries hard to blend in with the larger community. So maybe their home private life is different.
Yeah.
But they blend in. So it's kind of like, I guess, when I think of assimilation, I think of my family, you know, because my family's Greek, but they took on English names.
Yeah.
And my grandfather didn't teach his kids Greek.
Yeah.
You know, he just taught them English.
I would say that's assimilation.
Yeah.
For sure. Like if you and I didn't teach our children English, that would be an example of assimilation.
But they did go to Greek Orthodox church and they did Greek festivals and stuff like that. And when there was like a Greek actor on TV, they're like, oh yeah, he's a Greek, you know. But I don't know. So for me, you know, the way that I see it is, you know, when I live here, I know that there are lots of foreigners who cause problems here.
Yeah.
And I want to be a good ambassador for my country.
You want to be a good little foreigner.
I want to be a good little foreigner, exactly. Because there's so many problems that happen.
You know what they call people like you? The house slave.
Uncle Tom.
You're
Yeah,
the house slave.
I'm the Uncle Tom, yeah. Yeah, we don't need to get into that, man. No, but it's true because like I don't know, I see especially now, you know, because so many tourists are coming to Japan, so many foreigners are coming to Japan wreaking havoc basically, and I don't want people to have too many negative associations with foreigners, you know?
Well, I agree with you and I don't. the way that I look at it is I can't control how people act. You know, there's a lot of things that really upset me when I see tourists come here. But at the same time, you know, there's a lot of things that really bother me in Japanese culture too. That I'm just looking at and like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why are we working 60-hour work weeks?
Yeah.
Nobody does that. You know, America, you know, as much flack as we give Japan for, you know, having really long work hours, America's like almost right up there with Japan.
Yeah. Well, because America doesn't take vacation days.
Yeah.
That's why. So like actually, so in Japan, they work longer hours each day, but they take more vacation days.
Yeah. So if when it comes to assimilation, that is a very hard line that I will not cross. I will not do overtime. I work 9 to 4 every day. Yeah. Occasionally I'll stay after because you know, I participate in clubs and I'll have like, you know, some other reason to stay after, but the latest I will stay outside of obligations is 6 p.m.
Yeah.
6 p.m. That's like a very hard line that if I was getting extra overtime pay, sure, I'll stay. But the American in me is like, nah, I'm done. I did my work for the day. I'm not doing tomorrow's work.
Yeah, I guess our situation is different because, like, you know, I own my own business. I work my own hours. And I'm not necessarily in a foreign community or Japanese community. Yeah. I'm, like, removed from community. I'm in my own community.
Yeah,
you know?
Honestly, I really think you are.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, that's kind of like a little bit of anti-assimilation from you because you refuse to become the salary man.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but I do have a pretty equal balance of foreign and Japanese friends. I would say
you got that American entrepreneur spirit.
That is true. Yeah, but I mean, for me, like, I don't know. You know, the thing that I've also noticed is, you know, when I first came to Japan, there were a lot of things that would happen, and I would think, man, why do they do things that way? It's so strange. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But as I live here longer, I understand why people do it that way. And it makes sense in the microcosm, you know? Like, I remember, so I use Twitter sometimes, X, whatever, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, because there are a lot of tech bros on Twitter, and they were making fun of the fact that at Haneda Airport, one of, like, on, like, the Suica, like, get your Suica card kiosk thing, they had, like, a handwritten message with a hand-drawn map saying, like, hey, if you want to pay by credit card, you need to go over here.
Yeah.
This is cash only. And they had like a little map. And I guess they were criticizing it by saying, oh, look, this is handwritten. Like, why didn't they just make a design in a computer or something, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like...
I think that is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree with them. I also think it's not a big deal. It's like, dude, who cares?
Yeah.
But also, like, you guys could have made this a little bit more official looking, because I think something that's typically maybe this isn't really thought of in the same way, but when it comes to handwritten stuff, in Western culture, it's viewed as unprofessional.
Yeah.
You know, and it comes back to letter writing.
Yeah.
Right. Where letters would be, you know, handwritten, and the idea was there was a little bit of like, privateness or, you know, personal stuff. Whereas, you know, typically like business contracts and stuff would be typed out or pressed together. Right.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from. So I feel like people arguing there are coming from that experience where it just looks unprofessional.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but it also just depends on like your culture and your values and stuff like that. Because you know, I remember, you know, actually, web design in Japan has changed. I feel like, especially since we've gone into Deva, you know, I feel like Japan has become more globalized and more.
Oh, undeniably, of course.
So I'm talking mainly about Heisei stuff, but I remember because back like maybe 8 years ago, there was this viral post on the internet talking about why Japanese web design is so bad. Because the websites were so crappy compared to that. And they were actually comparing Honda Japan and Honda USA websites.
Oh, really?
And like the Honda Japan website was like one of those chirashi, like one of those like bargain flyer, hey, you know, buy your thing here. And there was so much text, and people, it's funny because in the States, people like, there's so much text, I don't want to read this, it's hard for me to focus, this sucks, you know. But what they were saying was that Japanese people on average, because I mean, Japan's very safe, but I think Japan's also very safe because it's a very low trust society. And so because of that low trust, that low mutual trust, you need more information before you can arrive at a buying decision. So they would put all the information on the first page. So it looks super cluttered, but that's what worked.
No, I totally agree with you on that. Yeah. I think just Japan in general, you will see a lot more text everywhere, especially when it comes to buying stuff.
Yeah.
Like a perfect example of this, going into 7-Eleven, looking at all the different prices, because it gives you 3 different prices when you're buying something. The first price will be the base cost. The second price will be the price with tax included. And then for a lot of items that you typically would be expected to buy multiple of, it'll cost you the price per unit.
Yeah, right.
And that is something you don't see in like, you know, for example, Western markets where you go in and it's just like, there's the price. Yes, there's tax, but we can't be asked to show you the cost of the thing with tax.
Figure it out, you know.
Figure it out. Yeah. You know, so yeah, you know, I agree with that.
Yeah. And it just kind of goes back to like, you know, when I first moved here, you know, and I saw all of the super detailed explanations of things and how like, you know, there's cute characters everywhere and there's such in-depth explanations.
Yeah.
You know, at first I really resented that because I was like,
I find it annoying still.
Yeah. And I get it. I resented it because I was like, you know, like, what are you making this? Is this a country for sissies that can't think by themselves and can't act by themselves?
Yeah.
And I understand that logic because like in America, people value strength and independence and figuring out by yourself. So you don't have that support of that information. Yeah. But then now I see it on the side of Japan where they're like, hey, we just want to be as helpful as we can.
Yeah.
And that's actually, why is that a bad thing? This should be a good thing.
And going back to your example of the map, right? I think a Japanese person would look at that and go, oh, wow, they took the time to draw out this map and help people.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here in Japan, that would be viewed as like kind of going the extra mile and being like, oh, look, here's this thing. I did this for you.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? But then a Western person looks at that and is like, what is this trash? This is unprofessional. What, you can't print this?
Yeah.
You know? So it's really interesting how like you can look at something and just based off your culture, think 2 completely different things about it.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's why, you know, especially now, like, I mean, we're talking about being the good foreigner, the good house slave, whatever, you know, like I'm not, it's not like it's my mission life to be the good foreigner that all the Japanese people like, but I do want to assimilate because, you know, the more that I live here, the more I understand why things are done. And like, it just makes sense.
I think I kind of approach it from the perspective of, I like to pick and choose which things that I hold value to because there's a lot of American culture that I hate.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate. A good example is, you know, I'm actually kind of guilty of this. So I am a hypocrite. I will come out and say this.
Okay.
It drives me insane when Americans have to voice their opinion about everything.
Yes.
You know, that's like one of the telltale signs. It's like, oh, you're American. The telltale signs. You go into a group here in Japan and, you know, maybe the group has a couple foreigners and instantly an American will tell you how they feel about something. Yeah, this sucks. I hate this. Yeah. Or this is great. You know what? If you don't like this, you're probably just not a smart person. You know, those are things that Americans will say, right? Yeah. And you just have such like binary opinions about stuff. Yeah. And it's just like, shut up. Shut up. It drives me insane. You go back to America and, you know, it doesn't matter where you are in America. Every single family in America has this. My family, your family, our friends, everybody does this. And I do it too. I'm sure you do it too. And it's something we can't really control just because it's like we grew up in American society, but it drives me insane having lived in Japan and kind of being a little bit removed from it.
Yeah.
And I look back on it now and I'm just like, oh, God, shut up.
Yeah, it's funny.
No one cares.
It's so funny when I see like American people or like Western people come here, and I guide them around Tokyo sometimes. Maybe they're friends of friends or something.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, oh, that's weird. Why would they do that? It's like a common like phrase that people just use as a reaction. Like, well, that's weird. Well, that's weird. Why would they do that? Well, that's weird. I'm like, why do you have to be so judgmental? Like, just accept it. It's just different. Who cares? But I will tell you one thing though.
We don't do this in America.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like, no shit, dude. You're in Japan.
Dude, I remember like I was on Facebook, and there was this Facebook group of foreigners living in Japan, and someone was like, hey, do you know where I can get like XXL clothes and like deodorant? I was like, yeah, this isn't America. This is Japan. But that's a tough thing for you and me because
tell me about it. I am a sweaty, stinky man right now, and it's horrible.
Yeah. So that's
it's so hot.
So that's another level of like the assimilation thing here because like our bodies are not made for here.
No.
Yeah.
No. Not at all.
I feel like, so I wouldn't say we're like a round circle in a square peg, but we're kind of like in a square peg that's just a little bit rough hewn, and like you can get it in there if you jam it in there, but it's going to hurt a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's like something to really bring up about race, because it's not really a comfortable topic, but people are built different.
Yeah.
Right? And we are white people.
Yeah.
White people come from Northern Europe, and well, I at least come from Northern. I guess you're
I'm
more
part
Southern
of Northern Europe. I'm half.
But yeah, it's like white people come from Northern Europe, and if you look at the climate of Northern Europe, it's freaking cold.
Yeah.
And it gets up to like in the summer, like the mid-20s.
Yeah.
Like it's like 20 degrees Celsius, or if you're using Fahrenheit, like the mid 80s.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the hottest it ever gets.
Yeah.
It gets very cold in the winter. And so, white people have adapted to cold weather.
Yeah.
So you put us in a tropical environment and we don't do very well.
Yeah. Right.
It sucks.
It's like, so this is a horrible example, but in the South, they used to have a bunch of like Irish slaves to help them till the land, and they all kept on dying from the heat. So then they brought in African slaves, and everything was okay. Yeah. But it's funny because this goes back to so it's summer right now when we're filming this. It's July.
Yeah.
And normally, for a long time when we were married, I didn't have much money, so we couldn't travel very much. But then started to get money, so I could travel, and we would go back to Boston in the summer. And the first summer we went back to Boston in the middle of July, I'm sitting at the table eating lunch, and Natsumi just looks at me and says, Arthur, why is your hair so nice? Because in Japan, it's a sweaty, gloppy mess normally.
Yeah. I'll tell you what happens with my hair is it gets super dried out.
Oh, really?
In the summer.
Yeah.
Because all the moisture just gets sucked into the air.
Yeah.
And so like my hair just gets like really dried out.
Yeah. Yeah, mine gets really frizzy too. But it's those things, it's, like when we were talking about, for headaches, getting itamido and getting like aspirin, whatever.
Yeah.
So the regular Japanese medicine doesn't work for me. If I have a headache.
No, it doesn't do anything for me.
I need to get the extra heavy stuff made for like period cramps.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that actually fixes my headaches, Like I've had regular Bufferine. It doesn't do anything to me.
I'm the same way, man.
Yeah.
It literally, it's like, what am I doing with this medicine?
And so of course, like I want to assimilate. You want to assimilate too. Maybe assimilate in a different degree as me. But our bodies are also fairly incompatible with this, Plus, you bump your head on everything, man. You're so tall.
Yeah. Dude, I am not exaggerating. Yeah. I literally have scars on the top of my head from smacking my head into the door frames here.
Even the place where we're filming now, so this is kind of an old building from the 80s. Yeah. I hit my head on stuff all the time.
Yeah. I'm 182 centimeters tall, and this country was not designed. It's really weird for me to say that though, because I I think if I came to Japan 30 years ago, I would be very easy to spot in a crowd.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I see so many guys that are about the same height as me that are Japanese.
Yeah.
So like this idea that Japanese people are short is not true at all nowadays.
It's meat consumption, man.
It 100% is.
Yeah.
It's, you know, after World War II, people like they started importing more beef from the West. And so people's diets switched from a fish-based diet to a beef-based diet.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
Yeah.
Just the amount of milk that students drink when they're children here, that is a big impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, so now people are catching up, you know?
Yeah.
But so maybe they'll just have to redo all the buildings in like a decade or so, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so going back onto this assimilation topic. So you said that there are some things that you want to adjust yourself to, but there are some things that you want to keep about your American identity. So what are some aspects of living here that you don't want to assimilate? You want to keep your Americanness?
My independence in my life.
Okay, break that down.
Okay. So one thing that I think is really like a really big part of Japanese culture is kind of assuming a role in society.
Yeah.
And that role can be many different things. You can be a worker. You can be a parent, like a mom. But many people here have a role that either they choose or it is assigned to them, right? And it's a really big stress point in Japan. A lot of people, that's the whole reason Harajuku culture exists. Is for people just to like kind of get out of their box and express themselves and just kind of let loose, right? And there's a lot of ways of letting loose here in Japan, but the fact of the matter is you are given a role in society, and that's what role you are. There's a reason why the term salaryman exists, right? And you see people who are salarymen. You go on the train, you can immediately see that is a salaryman right there. It's so obvious. I refuse to fit in a role.
Okay.
I want to be Austin.
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen as a teacher. I don't want to be seen as a dad. I don't want to be seen as whatever. I am all of those things. And I want to choose points in my life where, okay, I'm going to be a teacher now. Now I'm going to be a dad. Now I'm going to be me playing Warhammer. Now I'm going to be me over at the bar drinking. I want to have agency in my life. And that's a big thing to me that I just refuse to give up.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I think that goes kind of back to the service aspect. Like my dad said when he came here in at the kindergarten bus when we were dropping off my son Louis to the kindergarten bus to go to kindergarten,
Yeah.
I remember my dad saying, hey, everyone here talks at you. They don't talk to you, And it's because those people have assumed that role and they don't interact with you as a human.
That's exactly it.
But I remember when, like after that, I went back to Boston. I went to a coffee shop and I got I got some coffee or whatever. And the guy was like, how's your day? And I could see that he actually meant like, how was your day? It wasn't like part of the script. He actually meant, I'm like, what, you're treating me as like a human now?
Yeah.
You're the Tein-san, I'm the Okyak-san. Like it was weird for me. I'm not used to that anymore,
Yeah, and there's this aspects of that. And I'm I want to also kind of follow this up by saying like it's not that I look down on people who assume a role. Okay? That's not what I mean by that. But it's a role. It's an idea that I want to live in the moment and I want to be a genuine person. I don't want to be in a mode that you were kind of just describing. And you see a lot of people here, and I don't think they want that either.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people here look at that and be like, oh God, like I don't want to be a salaryman, but I have to, like I have to provide for my family. And, Shacho wants to go out to a nomikai after work, so I have to go deal with that. And yeah, it's fun, but I would prefer to just kind of go relax at home. I think there's a lot of people that think that here, but the way, especially in Tokyo, probably you get outside of Japan and things are more relaxed.
Outside of Tokyo.
Or sorry, yeah. Probably you get outside of Tokyo and things are a little bit more relaxed. But especially here in Tokyo, you see a lot of people that are just, they feel like I hate to use this word, but they feel like they're drones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that part I do not want to assimilate into.
No, I mean, so I get that. And then, but on the other side of that, you know, I also see how becoming a drone for a set period of the day to fill your role makes everything move so much smoother because but
I like going against the grain.
No, I understand, but okay, so here's a good example, right? So in the North End in Boston, in the Italian area, right?
Yeah.
There's this really nice Italian pastry shop. And I remember seeing it's a family-owned business. I remember seeing two of the employees there who probably have the same family.
Yeah.
They were arguing with each other, like right in the store in front of
two Italians
customers.
argue with each other.
Two Italian women, man.
That would be gold.
I know. It was gold. But here I'm sitting like, guys, you're at work. Like, you're supposed to be helping the customers. You're too busy arguing and you don't notice that there are people waiting to take your order, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, also I see, you know, there are like I see this a lot in Starbucks in the States too, where like a lot of the Tengisan, a lot of the people at the register, they kind of expect you to act a certain way. And if you don't act a certain way, then they'll like kind of look down on you or something like that,
like,
you know?
Okay, what? Am I not important enough to have a conversation with? Like that kind of thing?
Yeah, and it's like, no, dude, I just want my coffee. Like, oh, so I'm not a human being to you? No, you're a person to give me coffee. Like, I don't need you to humanize me. I don't need to humanize you. Like, let's just fill out our roles. And in our private lives, we can be the humans we want. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's because you're stuck with that for like 6, 7, 8 hours a day. You know?
I mean, that's a very good point, right? Yeah. It's like you don't have that burden thrust on you just because you have your own job.
I've chosen that burden. Yeah. But I will tell you, once I have accepted that role, it has made my life a lot easier though. Because I used to be I just want you to treat me as like a human being. But now like I play the game that everyone else plays and I do the role that people expect me to do. And I mean, they're not my friends. I don't need them to validate me.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, I think this pretty much wraps up this video.
Yeah. We didn't like necessarily have so much of a debate, but we did talk about our values. And
we did go head to head. I said I disagree with you.
And we decided that I was right. Okay, cut.
Now we'll cut. I was right.